to another episode of All Things Real Estate. And as always, I am your host, Kyle Seyboth with Century 21 Real Estate. And today, unlike any other episode, we have a special guest, but we went outside the box today. We decided to bring in a local recording artist on the national stage, none other than Jon Hope. Jon, how you doing today?
What's up, man?
What's
how you
going
doing?
on?
I'm happy to be here.
Good, good, good. So we went totally different. So I wanted to do this because I think it's important for people to see a different aspect, not just real estate all the time, but see something different, but have a similar mindset and passion for what they do. So quickly, I just want to get into your background. I actually worked with you to help you find a property here in Rhode Island.
That's right.
So just to talk about that, because I've never actually had a home buyer on the show.
Yeah.
A first-time home buyer specifically. What was that process like for you? Like, what do you think? Like, if you were to educate a brand new buyer, what would you say to them?
Man, I think, for me, the process was one of discovery of like value. I think, coming from where I come from, it seems very, it seems like a daunting task. Not that it's insurmountable, but just more or less like you don't have the tools and the access, or you may not have the information. And I think for you, you really did a great job of providing that information and really guiding me throughout the steps. And so once I got to that point, I was like, oh, okay, And so now I've really sort of reimagined, what I can do as a home buyer, as somebody that wants to maybe get into flipping properties and things of that nature. So it's been great.
I think you hit one of the things that I deal with a lot is working with first-time buyers they've never done it before.
Right.
They've never been around it. Their parents may have done it, their uncle, their aunt, their sister, or whatever, but they may feel like, oh, shoot, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
Like, it's really a big task. But at the end of the day, when we simplify it down and we break it down pretty simply, I think it's something that anyone can achieve. Like, wouldn't you agree that if you have your credit in line, if you have a decent income, it's possible? Like, it's not insurmountable. It's not something that's not possible for people.
Right, yeah, definitely. It really isn't, it's about information. And then once you get that information, you realize, oh, okay, like home ownership isn't relegated to a specific group of people or a specific tax bracket or whatnot. And I think as someone who's a black man, and a person of color in our community, I think we're seeing a mindset shift of that. And where, our quality of life is going to involve home ownership because we know about the residual effects for generations to come.
I think absolutely. I see it in the Hispanic community too right now. I'm seeing it like really big. We've made a big push to to educate people. We just want to, whether you buy or not, let's just educate you on what it looks like.
Right.
You make a decision if you want to buy. That's not, whether you buy or not, or you use us or not, that's up to you.
Right.
But what I've tried to really push is to educate folks, whatever their demographic, whatever their socioeconomic background is, we want to make sure you understand, man, this is possible for you. Like, this isn't anything above anyone or below anyone. Everyone's on that same page, and it's our job, it's my job to help try to provide the content out there so people can see that. Like, how many buyers, and I bet you may have known this or may not, but how many people really don't understand you can buy a house with no money down?
Yeah, I don't think not too many people understand that or know that. You know what I mean?
And I think that's a miss. That's a miss. That's a miss on society. Like, or not even no money down because that's specific to Rhode Island. But even 3.5% down. That's worldwide. That's nationwide. Right. So on a $200,000 house, if you have $7,000, you can purchase a property. And in Rhode Island, Mass, you can purchase with no money down. So for me, like, that's the biggest miss that we're making, and we're not giving people the opportunity to even have the chance to go forward and see if it works, see if it makes sense, because it's not for everyone. Home ownership's not for everyone. There's some people that want to move around. There's some people that jobs. There's some people that may only be here for a short period. That doesn't make sense to buy because you're stuck. But if you're in a situation where, hey, I've been renting for X amount of time, I pay way too much in rent, why are you paying someone else's mortgage? And for me, hopefully that's what you gained from the process. And I know with your property now, I believe you use it as a rental. You don't even live in it, right?
Yeah,
so
I don't live in it. It's a rental property.
So you used it. You actually took it to the next step, right? So you said, okay, let me get this property for minimal down.
Yep.
Now let me take that, let me build equity by having someone pay my rent. Let me let the appreciation factor come into play.
Right.
And guess, I don't know if you think about it like this, but how I think about it, I have 2 daughters, right? I've always said my goal is to have my kids' college paid for by houses.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is in 20 years when those houses are paid off, my daughter can go anywhere she wants.
Right.
All I have to do is sell X and sell Y,
right,
and move on.
Right.
And you with the daughter,
right,
you're almost you're in the same situation. By the
Absolutely.
time you probably bought it, how many years ago?
4 years ago.
So you're close.
Yeah.
Your daughter's 2. So think about
Yeah.
it. Like you could have education paid for your daughter like that. I mean, for not, and you didn't pay it. It was someone else's dime. So that's the beauty of this stuff, man.
Yeah. I think you know that's the next step. You talk about the next step, and for me as a new father, I'm thinking legacy. You know,
100%.
Right? And a great way to attain that and to really establish that is through home ownership. And you know, I think what we're speaking to is breaking down systems. I think systemically for a long time, you know, it has been difficult for certain groups of individuals to participate in that, you know, dream of home ownership. And now, you know, with the education that's out there and the sophistication, now it looks that much more attainable, and we can all participate.
I think that only gets stronger. I think it only gets better.
Absolutely.
I'm in the camp, like, again, it's only going to evolve, and it starts with, think about your situation. It starts with you, and then it goes to your daughter, and then it goes to her kids, and then it goes, it just starts.
Yeah.
It just
Breaking
starts.
cycles.
Sure, exactly. I mean, I'm not, that's your game, right?
Yeah,
so you study that, right? So you had a minor or major in what?
Sociology.
Correct.
Yeah,
so that's your, like, I don't know the verbiage, but you get what I'm saying. Like, that's what it is. It's taking that and stopping it.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
enough, man. Like, we can all figure this thing out and get to that next level. Why can't something, it's funny you say generational, right? So one of my LLCs is called Generational.
Wow.
And the reason I did that is because I want to start something that's bigger than me.
Of course.
I want to be able to have something for my kids, whatever.
Yeah.
But I want to know, hey, it started here.
Right.
And I want to have that pride, that ownership of really put the buck starting here.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely, and it's something tangible that you can transfer to your kids and whatnot, and you establish a mindset that this is the standard and this is the norm within our family.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
And so that's how you break those cycles. And you know, for me, now my daughter is starting at a much better starting point than I had.
The baseline's higher.
As baseline's
so
higher.
So think about your background.
Yeah.
You don't know. You wouldn't even know how to do it. Me neither. We wouldn't know how to take a hammer and put it in. We wouldn't know how to do anything. But that doesn't mean you can't buy a house.
Right.
That didn't stop me from owning property.
Not at all.
Like, I don't know how to saw anything. Like, I don't do any of that stuff. That's not my game. That's not. You and I aren't gonna be. We're not building a house anytime soon.
I don't have a green thumb.
But you know what though? Right. That's the problem. Is a lot of people like, well, I don't know how to do that. I can't do this. I'm not into you said green thumb gardening. I can't cut. You don't have to do all that.
Right.
There's people now that can help you with that. There's different ways. So for me, like, that's the beauty of someone, like, that's just the great part of this. Like, that you can just go from not knowing anything about it to purchasing a home and now educating other people about why it's so valuable.
Right.
And how you can build that wealth and how you can build that equity. But I want to get into you.
Yeah.
What do you do? What's up?
Man, you know, I'm an artist, originally from Providence, Rhode Island. And yeah, man, I've been, you know, building my career step by step, laying a brick. Eventually you have a wall. And I have a project coming out on March 3rd called Hope All Is Well. And it's really about a mindset that's needed to attain what we've been talking about. You know what I mean? It's about, like, tapping into yourself, understanding that you do have the power and the capability. You know what I mean? So, you know, I think the messaging, there's some overlap with us, but, you know, and I chose to do it in a different medium through hip hop and really speaking to a certain demographic to inspire them. You know?
But at the end of the day, it's the same thing.
Oh, that's what I'm
So,
saying.
so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
yeah.
same.
It's the same
That's
thing.
what I love about it. Is like
Yeah.
you have your passion in what you love.
Yeah.
My passion is in what I like to do.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's that relentlessness, man.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
that relentlessness to not take no for an answer.
Right.
To not give up on what you believe in. And I don't know about you, but my whole life changed maybe 3 to 4 years ago, maybe even less, 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah.
When mindset started to become so important.
Right.
That is so powerful.
That's the key.
Oh, it's
That's
a
the
game.
key.
It's a switch that flips, man.
It really is. You know, when you have a growth mindset, and everything becomes much more clearer, and you don't really see obstacles, you see opportunities. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
It becomes less about a self-defeating mentality and more about, okay, how can I advance? What are the tools that I need? What are the people? Who are the people that I can align myself with? And then you realize that, you know, your circumstance is just that, just a circumstance, but your mentality can really supersede that.
So it's funny that you say that. So you say obstacles are opportunities. I say losses are lessons.
Absolutely,
right? That's
man.
another thing, man. Like a loss
Yeah.
to me is a lesson.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
get it now. You know what? I learned from that.
Right.
I'm not gonna make that mistake again. I know I struggled with, and I don't know if you feel the same way. I surrounded myself with very good people.
Yeah.
But the problem with the people I was surrounded with for a really long time, they didn't share the same mindset.
Right.
They
right.
had a mindset of complacency.
Correct.
And that became a problem.
Yeah.
And it becomes a wall that you keep hitting.
Right.
And if you don't start to grow yourself, and it's not that you're better than anyone else, but I
No.
think it's important that
Right.
people, like, how do you explain that? Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, well, what you're talking about is mission clash.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's what that is. You know, when you have mission clash, eventually, no matter how talented or what that person's toolbox is in terms of skill set, how great it is, if we're not on the same page, there's gonna be a clash, and and it's not gonna advance the overall agenda or pursuit. And so you really do have to find people that are like-minded. I mean, you know, this is. You know, in a finance world, they say if you hang with 5 millionaires, you'll be the sixth. You know what I'm saying?
I get
So,
it, yeah.
you know, it's just about aligning yourself, and that's something that I had to do with my career. You know what I mean? Because people didn't really see the vision; they maybe only saw what was happening at the moment, or they saw the obstacles, and I saw the opportunity. Like, this is what I'm gonna do.
So how hard was that for you to get rid? How hard was it for you to move on?
It got challenging when it's people that you love,
Right.
and people that are in proximity to you. You know what I mean? But you know, this journey is isolating. You know, it's not for the faint of heart. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So, you know, if you're that committed to yourself, then you'll know that you're gonna have to make some pieces. It might be subtraction by, you know, addition by subtraction, and you're gonna have to, you know, love those people from afar, because you can't have anyone intervene with what
In your way.
with your destiny,
Right, in
you
your
know
way.
what I'm
Like
saying?
you
Yeah.
can't. So one of the hard things so a lot of people will look at you and they'll look at me and be like, oh, you've had some level of success. Whatever
Yeah.
people look at,
Right.
whether they think it's really high
Yeah.
or in the middle or whatever. But you know what they don't see? They don't see what you just mentioned. I don't know how important
Right.
that is, that isolation.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of times, and I don't
Yeah.
know if you feel it, like
Yeah.
we're alone.
Of course.
There's nobody.
Yeah.
There's no. I'm looking around. I'm like,
Yeah. Absolutely.
there's nobody here. Like,
Absolutely.
what's up? Like, what's going?
Yeah.
But you have to fight through that,
Of
and you have
course.
to understand that isolation is part of the process.
Right.
And for me, it's the process that I love.
Yeah.
I love the process of trying to figure out how can I be better than I am today. I always
Right.
say this all the time. How can I be better today than yesterday and tomorrow than today?
Right.
And I believe that, but a
Right.
lot of people don't. They're like, what? Like, why? Why do you have to be? So
Well,
that's a struggle that I face.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I think it's because of the way we've been conditioned, you know, especially right now in social media. We crop the sadness. We only post the highlights. So we fall in love, and when I say we as a society, we fall in love with the end result. Because no one really wants to see how the food is cooked. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying?
Correct.
So, but individuals like you and I, we're in love with that process. We're in love with understanding that that's the actual win. right? The trophies and stuff like that, that's cool, but the win is the process.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? It's the journey.
The trophy, all that stuff is what it is. Like that, that's the end.
Right,
It's the means in the middle.
Yeah.
And that means is where people, in my opinion, that's what differentiates you from the other guy. And me from the other guy.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I think is the most interesting and challenging. And at the end of the day, the hardest part for us to kind of overcome together. But you have to surround yourself with people that get it.
Right.
If you don't, I think you have no chance.
Yeah. It's gonna be difficult.
It's really hard.
It's gonna be really hard.
So with that, time is up. But I thought, honestly, dude, this was probably the best one we did.
Oh man, that's what's up.
And I'll tell you what, you know why? Because this kind of hit a whole different level.
Yeah.
Like we took this to a different. We just took them to church. That was really good. So I appreciate you coming out. I know you're super busy. Everyone, thank you all. I really hope you watch this because this one today, this is bigger than real estate. This is a mindset-driven episode. So we're gonna make sure we get this out there and get after it. Everyone have a great week, and we'll see you guys next week.